Right everyone, it is Finn here and welcome back to my Premier League predictions.
Where today we'll be talking about how I've got a sore throat and have to use AI to speak. Brighton could darken West Ham's form, and Chelsea face Luton as both teams still look for their first win of the season.
This is awful. I'm sorry, I sound like John Fury.
Welcome everyone to my Premier League Matchweek 3 predictions. As I said, so sorry I have to use this AI voice. Been sick for the last week, and it's the only way to get this video out. Please subscribe. But jumping into our first game of the weekend, it's Chelsea versus Luton. Neither team with a win yet this season. But although Caicedo showed the defensive ability of a one-legged giraffe with a stick up, it's arse on his debut. Or Harry Maguire. I still think Chelsea will win 3-0. They've got the stronger team and were actually quite unlucky versus both Liverpool and West Ham. Especially after Sterling's performance. A Chelsea win. Bournemouth versus Tottenham is next, and I have to go for a Spurs 2-0 win. That African midfield for Spurs absolutely tore Manchester United a new one. Maybe that's why Mason Greenwood wanted to come back. Allegedly.
Dunno. I think that's a bit dodgy, mate.
But jokes aside, although Bournemouth have played some really nice football, Spurs seem to be too strong on the attack, even now that Kane left. Which makes sense, I guess, considering their new striker speaks better English.
I can't really make that joke right now, can I?
Arsenal take on Fulham next in what I expect to be a 3-1 win for the Gunners. Overall, Arsenal just seem to be a very complete team, while Fulham are shell of last season's team. I'm expecting Lino to have a lot of work versus his previous employers. I think this game will also showcase the scoring ability of Eddie Nketiah versus a relatively weak defense. Oh, I like how the AI guy says that. Nketiah. Along with Brighton and Manchester City, Arsenal is the only team to win 2 from 2 games, and I think they'll make it 3 in a row. They should some frightening pace versus Palace. Brentford versus Crystal Palace is next, and after scoring 5 and only conceding 2 in their first 2 games, I'm predicting a 2-1 to Brentford. Wissa and Mbeumo just seemed to link up so well for the Bees, while the most impressive thing about Palace was making that Tomiyasu touch look like a red card. Although defensively Palace have a lot of redeeming factors, without a proper number 9, I have to give this to Brentford. Everton vs Wolves is next, and to be honest, if I could predict for both teams to lose, I would.
Ooh, you're hard, showing off.
Both teams conceding 5 goals into games, and Wolves scoring 1 goal. The last time a bar was lowered like this, it was measuring Calvert-Lewin tolerance for pain. Which, surprise, surprise, another injury. Sorry, that was cheeky from me. But in all honesty, I really can't splitter the difference here, and I will go for a 1-1 draw. Manchester United take on Forest next. Now, as a Manchester United fan, am I scared of conceding 2 goals from Anthony Elanga? Most definitely. But am I going to back my boys, despite being by far the worst team in our first 2 games? You bet, yeah. Look, I understand that Manchester United haven't been great, but we've started both games strong, and it just goes down to our lack of finishing up front and that putting pressure on the rest of the team. I do think Forest will give United a run for the money, but I think it'll be a 1-0 win to the Red Devils.
Hopefully.
We move on to Brighton versus West Ham next. Now this is a difficult game to predict. As we know, West Ham have just beaten Chelsea 3-1, thanks to a former Brighton player, may I just add, and Brighton have scored 8 goals in their first 2 games. Whoever does the scouting for this Brighton team needs to plan an arranged marriage for me. This man never misses, unlike Enzo Fernandez. I think this game could be very close, but with Aguerd suspended, I am worried for the Hammers, saying that they have had a brilliant transfer window. But I'm predicting a Brighton 2-1 win, as the last time West Ham got a win in this fixture was in 2012. Roy Hodgson was only slightly past retirement age.
For the interruption everyone, sorry, as you can hear I'm still not well, but at the time of editing, Mohamed Kudus has just signed for West Ham United, and I did want to give a score update that if, and only if, Kudus plays in that West Ham United game, I'm going to update my prediction to a 2-2 draw.
Burnley take on Villa in our next Premier League game, and after a 4-0 win against Everton, Aston Villa have definitely redeemed themselves after match week 1, saying that I thought Burnley looked very promising versus Manchester City. It's a pity that Zarori picked up a red, but I still think Burnley have a lot of quality. But until they pick up some points, in the meantime, I'll back Villa to get a 3-1 win, especially with the skill of Moussa Diaby. Manchester City are next and should get a 4-0 win versus Sheffield United. Short and sweet. Unfortunately, Sheffield United hasn't really shown that they belong back in the Premier League yet after picking up 2 for 2 loses, while Manchester City have 2 for 2 wins, 4 scored, and 0 conceded.
Yeah, okay. Well, this is going to hurt like a mother...
Pep has literally carried this Manchester City team so far that he's out with a back injury for a month. I think this should be an easy win, and Haaland should return to the score sheet. And that takes us to the final game of the episode, with Newcastle United versus Liverpool. Once again, sorry about my voice. Wouldn't blame anyone if no one is watching anymore. But hey, if you are, like and subscribe. Looking at our final game, wouldn't be surprised if we saw a draw here. Liverpool looked good on the attack, but desperately need a defensive midfielder, while Newcastle on their day looks like they could be solid overall. Now, Newcastle haven't beaten Liverpool since 2014, I believe. This time around, I'm going for a 2-1 win to Liverpool. Hopefully, Endo can do well for them. Which, now that I think about it, did they give him a contract by mistake because they thought he was Hendo? Maybe Klopp should have kept his glasses.
You must have a goddamn IQ of 160.
That concludes our predictions for Premier League Match Week 3. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to leave your predictions down below. Hopefully my voice returns by next week. But until then, this has been Finn. F. Y. Double N. Cheers.
That was awful. I'm sorry.